I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. Senator Ron Johnson and DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas got into a heated exchange during Wednesday's Senate Homeland Security Committee hearing. The Wisconsin Republican asked Mayorkas directly if he saw, quote, a problem on the southern border. The Republican also squarely blamed both Mayorkas and President Biden for the surge of migrants at the southern border. Immigration policy has been a hot-button issue as Title 42 is expected to be lifted this month. Here's more of their fiery exchange.
Next person in line is Senator Johnson. I think, Senator Johnson, you're recognized.
Thanks, Senator Carper. Mr. Secretary, I can't tell you how many times as chairman of this committee I talked about the problem-solving process. And the first step in that process is admitting you have a problem. I've heard you say that we have a secure border, that you're managing it. Do you not admit that this is a problem on the southern border?
Senator Johnson, that is certainly a challenge. We recognize the challenge.
I mean, can you say the word problem?
It is precisely, Senator Johnson, it is precisely why in September of last year we intensified our efforts.
I've got some questions I want to ask you. So, because you've also said that you inherited a broken system. I would contend you broke a system. I think it's time for a little history lesson here. This is a chart I developed as chairman showing the growth in unaccompanied children crossing our border illegally. You see, before DACA, it was somewhere between 2,000 and 4,000 a year. DACA in 2012 all of a sudden sprung to 10,000. In 2014, it went up to 51,000 unaccompanied children. And this is even President Obama called that a humanitarian crisis. Going to this chart, that humanitarian crisis peaked one month where apprehensions were slightly over 2,000 a month, 2,000 a month. You can see that President Obama then responded. He started detaining families. Then he had the Flores court decision reinterpreted. You couldn't break up families. They wouldn't do that. I understand that. And it took a little while longer for people to recognize, even though when President Trump ran for office, illegal immigration declined pretty dramatically because people thought we were going to be, serious about securing our border. But once they found out that the laws hadn't changed, that we had, again, this very low standard of credible fear, not the asylum standard, but credible fear that all you had to do is come to this country and say, I'm afraid to go back, you can come in. And so we had the crisis that culminated in 2019 at a little bit more than 4,000 in 1 month. I think 4,600 a month. But in January, we were averaging about 3,000 for about 5 or 6 months. And then President Trump did something about it. He actually modeled his return to Mexico off of a program that Senator Sin and I worked on called Operation Safe Return. But they turned into Return to Mexico. He had agreements with Central American countries and Mexico. And I think you have to admit that at least in terms of unaccompanied children and families exploiting our asylum law, we'd pretty well almost stop the flow. What happened during 2020 is during the Democrat presidential debates, every Democrat president candidate said they were going to stop deportations and give free health care. So you can see single adults started rising, but the full-blown crisis did not start until you and President Biden took office. You dismantled Return in Mexico. You dismantled those agreements. You sent the signal to the world that America's borders are open. You end Title 42, and the signal says the borders are completely open. Now, can you sit there and testify that the root cause of the current crisis isn't how you dismantled what worked under the previous administration?
Yes, that is my position, Senator.
You do not believe that your dismantling of those successful policies that obviously worked didn't cause this crisis? That you were brought into office with I understand the system can't handle 7,000 people a day, which is what we've been averaging since your administration took office, about 6,000 a day. Last month, 7,000 a day. I know the system can't handle that, but that wasn't a broken system. What's broken is the uncontrolled flow caused by your policies of opening up the border. You won't admit that what you did in dismantling successful policies caused this?
Senator, so I disagree with your framing of the question, but let me answer it if I may. The challenge of migration is not unique to the United States. I've traveled to the south of our border. Let me share a few facts with you. There are more than 1.8 million Venezuelans in Colombia. I was in the small country of Costa Rica. Costa Rica's population right now is approximately 2%.
Mr. Secretary, you're Secretary of Homeland Security for the United States of America.
No, what I'm sharing.
There are, I've seen the surveys, there are tens of millions of people around the world that would want to come to this country, and I understand that. I'm sympathetic with that. But we need to secure our border, and we pretty well had it done. It was your administration that stopped building the fence. You stopped completing it. You dismantled these programs. Again, you can sit there and deny that the actions you took, your policies, have sent the signal to the world. And again, end Title 42, it is the final signal that our border is completely open. You even stopped calling it apprehension. Now it's just encounter. You encounter. You're managing the process by making that processing and dispersing so much more efficient.
I would like to finish my answer.
Well, you're not answering the question. You're just dodging it.
No, I've already answered your question, Senator, if I may, that we do not believe the policies of this administration have caused the migration challenge that actually.
Okay, that's you're living in an alternate reality.
That is actually
is the goal of this administration to actually reduce the flow of illegal immigrants, or is the goal just making it more efficient to let them in and disperse them? What's the goal of your policy?
The goal of this administration, and it has been articulated publicly many a time, is to build safe, orderly, and legal pathways for individuals to access the laws of immigration that Congress has passed, not to come in between the ports of entry, not to take the dangerous journey, not to place one's life savings.
That's not working very well. You said that Congress has to pass laws. Is there any law that you proposed that would tighten that credible fear standard so that we don't have this beacon for people coming to this country illegally and exploiting our very low credible fear standard? Is there anything you're proposing that would actually reduce the flow as opposed to just making it more efficient to process and disperse?
Senator Johnson, I believe that Senators Sinema and Cornyn, for example, have presented a proposal to fix our asylum system. We would look forward to working with them with respect to that proposal or other proposals that are so desperately
why not go back to return to Mexico, because that worked? Without congressional action, because President Trump did it, you just go back to return to Mexico, complete the fence, re-enter those agreements with Southern or Central American countries, and do what President Trump did, fix it. Why don't you do that? You can do that with executive action.
We do not agree with many of the inhumane and cruel policies of the prior administration.
You think the human trafficking, the sex trafficking, the over 100,000 drug overdoses because of our completely open border? You think selling of children to use that loophole in our asylum laws, you think that's humane? You think what you are facilitating, the business model of some of the most evil people on the planet, putting billions of dollars in their pocket, you think that's humane?
Senator Johnson, of course, I'll treat that as a rhetorical question, because you know that the question compels the answer that I would give. Of course, we don't consider that human suffering to be humane. Of course,
you're allowing it.
Of course, we do not consider the more than.
You're allowing it. You're facilitating it. You've caused it.
Of course, we do not consider the more than 1,500 individuals raped, murdered, tortured,
then fix it.
otherwise victimized under President Trump's execution of the Remain in Mexico program.
Fix it. You know how to fix it.
Of course, we don't consider that humane.
Senator Paul, you're recognized for your questions.